Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sajjad Malik. I'm a business and immigration lawyer, a barrister and solicitor in Canada, and I'm speaking to you from my office in Oakville, Ontario. Today, I'll be speaking to you about the new changes which have been brought up in the Startup Visa program, also called Startup Business Class. Now, in a recent announcement, the Minister of Immigration has introduced a few changes in the Startup Visa route. These changes are 5 in number, and these changes include the following. Number 1, instead of 1,000 applications being processed every year, the Canadian government would be processing 3,500 applications a year, which means bigger pipeline and more probability of processing these applications in less amount of time. Processing time for these applications is more than 30 months. But with these changes, there is expected that these times might come down. The second change in this domain is that instead of applying for 1 year of work permit at the outset, a foreign national startup entrepreneur could apply for 3 years of work permit upfront. Previously, one could apply for 1 year of work permit, come to Canada, and before the expiry of that work permit could apply for an extension. In many cases, those extensions were refused. So with 3 years of upfront work permit application, there is more likelihood of certainty in this pathway. Number 3 change. Previously, the work permits were closed work permits, which means that anybody who was a startup founder on this work permit could come to Canada and were allowed only to work for that particular startup. They were not allowed to look for another job in Canada. Now, the government has announced that these work permits will be open work permits, which means that the startup entrepreneur could not only come to Canada, work towards developing his or her startup, but could also find another job and work towards that job and work for that employer to accumulate some extra income and support in Canada. Number 4, previously these applications or this pathway, this work permit was only available to essential members of a startup. Now, after the changes are implemented, these open work permits will be available to all founders of the company, regardless of their essential or non-essential status. Now, this is positive in a way because now, even if you are a non-essential member, you will be allowed to come to Canada and you will be allowed to apply for an open work permit based on which you could work towards not only your startup company, but for another employer as well. And the last change which has been announced is regarding prioritization of those applications. Now onwards, once these changes are implemented, all those entrepreneurs who are supported, all those startup companies who are supported by venture capital funds, by incubators with committed capital, and by angel investors, their applications would be processed faster and their applications would be prioritized. Now, if you are one of the founders, one of the startup founders, one of a foreign national, those foreign nationals who have an innovative business idea, who are willing to apply to a designated organization for a letter of support, you are proficient in English and or French, and you have settlement funds to show your settlement in Canada, you may be able to reach out to us and we would be happy to make an assessment of your eligibility. And if you opt so, then we could schedule a formal legal consultation to explain the startup visa process to you, to explain all those questions which you have in your mind, and to evaluate whether you are the right candidate for startup visa, whether you will have a chance in coming to Canada as a permanent resident and develop your business in Canada. You're most welcome to get in touch. My contact details are displayed at the end of this video. You're welcome to reach out to my firm. My firm's member or one of our lawyers will be able to reach out to you and explain the process or schedule formal specific legal consultation with you. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber, and please press the like button. Thank you very much once again, whichever part of the world you are, and have a good day ahead.